What's up, people? Welcome back to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm Ryan Thomas, your host once again, bringing you another edition of the Thomas Take. And yes, we'll be talking more Buffalo Bills football tonight. As you well know, my post-game recap from yesterday's game, which was a emphatic, thrilling blowout victory for the Buffalo Bills versus the Oakland Raiders, winning by a score of 34-14. I recapped the action live on the My Fantasy Sports Talk Facebook page. You can check it out. The post-game show had over 4,000 views this week. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching it. The loyal Bills Mafia, the best fans on the face of the earth. The best fans in the NFL, the best fans, period, in any sport. I'm very thankful to be a part of this fan base and contribute to this fan base by taping my live post-game show week in and week out throughout this entire 2017 NFL season. And what a whirlwind it has been. So much of the talk today, this Monday, Football Monday, I should say, in regards to the Bills, is who deserves the most credit for this 5-2 start. People are saying that LaShawn McCoy is really firing on all cylinders. People are saying that Tyrod Taylor looks a lot better. People are saying that this defense looks a lot better. All those points are true. Tyrod Taylor has looked better throwing from the pocket, buying time outside the pocket, and yesterday made quite a few solid throws throughout the game that led the Bills to sustaining their drives, more particularly to Andre Holmes, not once but twice, once in the end zone and once on a third down conversion, I believe. And there was the Brandon Tate reception where Brandon Tate got some yards after the catch and really extended the drives. But Tyrod Taylor played very well yesterday, one of his better games. The stat line isn't that impressive, but 2 touchdowns and 0 picks is impressive, and 1 touchdown through the air, 1 touchdown on the 1.5 or half yard line, where he jumped into the end zone with the ball over the plane, and that was really it. That was all he really needed. And you can point the finger and say, this guy deserves the credit. This guy deserves the credit. The credit goes to the coach. The credit has to go to the coach after yesterday's game. Sean McDermott is probably the best thing to happen to the Bills in this millennium. I have never seen a coach on any team come in, make the moves that McDermott made, essentially, along with Brandon Beane later on, where the Bills are able to acquire more draft picks for next year, 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, trade away talents like Sammy Watkins, trade away talents like Ronald Darby, trade away prospects like Cardale Jones, and just move on from these guys, including, most recently, Marcel Darius. And the Bills just keep pushing along. Cedric Thornton is in now for Marcel Darius, and he made more of an impact in the few games that he started with the Bills than Darius has made in the past couple years. So things are just firing on all cylinders right now for the Buffalo Bills, and especially for their head coach, Sean McDermott. I do have some worries in terms of the fact that will the Bills be able to keep this pace going? Will they be able to make sure that they can win as many as 10 games this season? 10 wins is what we need to make the playoffs. I said that before the season started. I'm saying that now. 10 wins is the safe number in which a team could make the playoffs. But judging this Bills team, looking at each week, wins and losses, let's just hypothetically say that if the Bills do make the playoffs, I think they got a very good shot at winning a playoff game in comparison to the Miami Dolphins of last year, who made the playoffs as the last seed of the AFC, went to Pittsburgh, and got routed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that is my take on the future as far as the Bills making the playoffs. I think if they were to make the playoffs, I like their chances at actually winning a playoff game because of the fact that they are so well coached by Coach McDermott, by Coach Dennison, by Coach Leslie Frazier, who that's a guy that I haven't really been hearing a lot of praise thrown on him. Leslie Frazier, former head coach of the Vikings, former defensive coordinator for the Vikings, Super Bowl champion of the '85 Bears as a safety with the Bears. This guy has been a fantastic contributor to the Bills coaching staff, and I really admire what he has done during his time with this very little talent. Trey Elston yesterday stepped up big, 11 tackles and an interception. We really don't see this that often, and this is reminiscent for me of a year prior, a few years prior, I should say, in Buffalo sports history with the Buffalo Sabres. The 05-06 Sabres, nobody expected the Sabres to do anything. Sporting News magazine had the Sabres ranked last going into the season, finishing as the dead last ranked team, saying that they had no chance, very little talent, retread players. Buffalo Bills, same thing, projected to go 4-12, 5-11 in most preseason predictions. They got the 5 part right, but the Bills are 5-2 heading into a pivotal Week 8 clash with the New York Jets. And this is a game at the Meadowlands, at MetLife Stadium, that some people could consider a quote-unquote trap game. The Bills on the national stage coming off a dominant performance versus the Oakland Raiders, where the Raiders virtually had no shot at winning the game as the game wore on. Things just continued to unravel. Buffalo's defense appeared to be far too much for the Raiders' offense, and Buffalo's offense, Buffalo's offense was willing to put some points up on the board this time. 34 to be exact. So the Bills have to stay focused. It's not about looking at the schedule and saying, oh, this is the matchup that's tough. This is the matchup we need. This is the matchup we can get. I'm not all about that. I'm about the most important game is the next one. You got to stay focused on the task at hand, week in and week out. We have to do well in this AFC East division in order to have a shot at making the playoffs. The divisional games are what's very, very important, the most important games throughout an NFL season for any team in the NFL. The Bills already own a win over the Jets. Another win over the Jets, putting the Bills at 6-2, would really put them in the driver's seat heading into Week 9 in a clash with the New Orleans Saints. And that's a tough test because you got Drew Brees, you got the Saints defense, which is an improved defense. But I'm looking at this particular game with the Jets. And do I believe that Sean McDermott will put his players in the right position to win? Do I believe that Sean McDermott was 100% the right hire for the Buffalo Bills? It surely appears so. Do I believe that the Pagulas are model owners in the NFL with this hiring? Have they redeemed themselves? 100%. Regardless of the win and loss record for the Bills in 2017, the future is pretty darn bright when we have a coach that is willing to put his players in the right position with a knowledgeable staff, a staff that I alluded to preseason, being a staff that Buffalo Bills fans have not seen the likes of in a long time, maybe if ever, and a staff that is as this experienced in the NFL as the McDermott staff. McDermott, 20 years in the NFL. Dennison, 20 years in the NFL. Frazier, over 30 years in the NFL as a player/coach. You got 70 years combined of NFL experience between your top 3 coaches, your head coach, your offensive coordinator, and your defensive coordinator. 2 guys that appear as if they were the right fits for the job. 2 guys that appear as if they were great hires by a rookie head coach. His peers stated that McDermott was the real deal. none other than Andy Reid, who I think is one of the most underrated head coaches in NFL history, stated that Sean McDermott is the real deal, that this guy can really coach up a team and knows defense. A disciple of the late, great Jim Johnson, the former Philadelphia Eagles longtime defensive coordinator. He filled in for Jim Johnson when Johnson was sick and ultimately passed away. Then from there on went to Carolina and then Buffalo. So McDermott, this is his time, and he was fired up before the season started. I'm pretty damn sure that he is fired up now. And I'm pretty damn sure he's fired up a lot of the Buffalo Bills fans, myself included. If the Bills go 6-2, we can really start talking about the P word. We can. Because we need 4 wins, according to my humble opinion. We need 4 wins in order to make the playoffs from here on out. Can the Bills get 4 wins in a span of 8 weeks? Can they go 4-4? That's all they need to do at that point. Go 4-4. I think they can. But I'm not somebody that wants to look that far ahead. I am somebody that wants to say, hey, we have a test in front of us. The New York Jets have played far better than what most pundits or quote-unquote experts have thought. So let's take a look at the schedule, embrace the challenge that is the New York Jets, because every team is a challenge in the NFL outside of the Cleveland Browns, and move forward. The next toughest game is the next one. That's it. The next one. National stage, the Bills flying high off that Oakland Raiders victory. Let's not fall on our faces. Let's make sure that we play fundamentally sound football, create turnovers with this turnover, ball-hawking, crazy defense. Tyrod, don't turn the ball over. Shady, run and stay healthy. And we're good. As long as McCoy is running hard, as long as the defense is playing clutch, the Bills got a shot. They have a shot. But those are big ifs. And those ifs need to fall into place. Everything needs to fall in line. But so far it is. Will it continue? I'm not sure. But do I believe that the Bills are headed in the right direction? 100%. Do I believe in Coach Sean McDermott? 100%. Do I believe that the Bills should trade Cordy Glenn? No. The past 2 weeks that Glenn has been healthy, LaShawn McCoy has had field days in the running game. Cordy Glenn should not be traded for T.Y. Hilton. Cordy Glenn should not be traded for a low-rated player. Cordy Glenn should not be traded for a low-rated pick. I think they need Cordy Glenn. I think he's pivotal to that offensive line and to our run game. Yet Glenn, Incognito, Wood, Miller, Mills, who did a hell of a job covering Khalil Mack this past week. Bills' offensive line run blocking is fairly decent, to say the least. Pass blocking is average. I'd say run blocking better than average, pass blocking average. So I don't want to see that line get broken up. They got depth at the tackle position, or really all along the offensive line with Deion Dawkins especially, who has shown to be a better guard than a tackle. So to trade Cordy Glenn and then move Dawkins to the outside, I think that would be a big mistake. You keep Cordy Glenn and convert Dawkins to a guard, if anything, because that's what I think his natural position is. I'm Ryan Thomas. That was the Thomas Take tonight. Please, everybody, if you are a mixed martial arts fan, do not forget that I'll be hosting a 2-hour live show co-hosted by my good friend Eric Ellis, as he'll be joining me on the show. We'll be joined by David Poole and Orlando Torres to talk about the big event that will be UFC 217, Bisping versus St. Pierre, Garbrandt versus Dillashaw, Joanna Jacek versus Rose Namajunas, and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson taking on Jorge Masvidal. 4 big fights, 3 title fights, 1 possible UFC welterweight contender title eliminator. I can't wait. Don't miss it. Live on Facebook. Take care, everybody. Let's go Buffalo.